attribution, specifically feeling like you're spending a ton of money every month and not being completely sure what it's doing for you. And it's a frustration that we see shops have. And then we also see the agencies share this frustration of feeling like they want to do more for their clients, for the great people of the trades that they're marketing for, but they're limited by the technology to only report on things like cost per conversion, total number of leads, kind of these leading metrics, but that don't show the full picture of what their marketing is doing. And so this product the solution was born out of a desire to close that gap for marketers so that they could see the full funnel of what's happening and see with as much accuracy as possible the ROI, or return on investment, for their ad spend. So that's kind of the overview. Anything that you'd like to add to that, Dylan or Sarah or anyone?
No, you captured it perfectly, Johnny.
Cool. So what that looks like. So first of all, this product is available to Marketing Pro full suite users. So if you have the initial like email only product, it won't be available. If you're Canadian, there's a special package for you on that one. But for Marketing Pro full suite users, and it's included with Marketing Pro, so there's no additional cost to it. It should be in your account already. If you're not full suite Marketing Pro and you're interested, you can reach out to your Marketing Pro rep, or just your CSR, or sorry, CSM.
CSM. You can reach out to your CSM. Yes.
CSM, and they'll connect you on how to get signed up for Marketing Pro full suite, which in my mind, for most people spending any sort of money on ads, it's worth it just for ads alone. But it's also great for the reputation, direct mail, the email, and audience builder. So that's kind of like the details of that. But the way that it works is typically in the trades, for marketing in general, conversion tracking is done through something called dynamic number insertion, or DNI. This is where it looks at a phone number on your website, it swaps it out with a different one, and allows us to track the information of that website visitor and then tie it to, I guess, the behavior that happens after. And there's a lot of different providers of this in the market. You may have heard of CallRail, Call Tracking Metrics, What Converts, Call Source. And the limitation that these softwares have is it ends with the phone call for the most part. And it sends, when a phone call happens, it sends it back into Google. It sends it into Google Analytics, and you're able to report on those conversions, but it has no idea if that call turns into a booked job, if that booked job turns into an actual revenue. And that's why we decided to build our own version of this, because we have access to that. We can see what happens to phone calls for the whole lifetime of that customer journey. And that's really the value that we have. So it's a DNI solution. If you are using a different one, our recommendation is that you switch to our DNI. So cancel that, stop paying for that, which is a nice benefit, and use Marketing Pro's version. And if for whatever reason you're unable to cancel it, maybe the agency that you're partnered with is just very dependent on that for their processes, we do have a way that you can integrate a third-party DNI provider like CallRail to a Marketing Pro, so you can keep using that and still get most of the benefits of our product, but it's a lot easier and more effective and inexpensive to just switch, stop using that one, start using our version. Once you've switched over and we're able to use these phone numbers to track the marketing data, and connect it to the CRM, it really opens up some cool reporting possibilities. So I'll share my screen and show you what the dashboard that this, I guess, unlocks looks like. While I'm doing so, please, any questions, feel free to ask them now, or any comments. Cool. Don't feel rude to interrupt me if one comes up that you think the group can benefit from, or just drop it in the chat.
Daniel wants to know advanced questions, overview of Ads Optimizer. We will get there as soon as we do this first.
Yeah, we didn't have a ton of time on the webinar for that. So we'll do this quick and then we'll get to Optimizer. Okay, so the main question that we want to answer is, how much money is my ads actually making me, which is surprisingly difficult to solve, or at least historically has been really hard to just figure out how much am I spending on ads and how much am I making on ads. There's a lot of workarounds that people have been coming up with. Once this is implemented, right there at the top row, you can see exactly how much revenue is coming from ads, how much you are spending to generate that revenue, and the ratio between those two. And so at a quick glance, you can see that this is within ServiceTitan. Now you can see some marketing metrics that probably your agency, or if you do it internally, you get from analytics or AdWords. And so you can just get a quick glance without having to look for a separate report. Just here in ServiceTitan, see impression data, click-through rate data, the things that you might be interested in keeping a pulse on, to see just how marketing is trending. And then here we start to bridge the gap. So again, these metrics are all for Google ad campaigns. And now you can see leads. And this is a lead as ServiceTitan defines it, which is a phone call that's at least 60 seconds long and that the CSR has not dismissed. You may be used to getting reports that just have all the phone calls. But since we as ServiceTitan can see if a CSR marked that as that's not a lead, or it was just a 20-second call, probably went to voicemail, or whatever might have happened. This is only qualified leads. So what's your cost per actual quality lead? How many of those got booked? How many of them got ran? What's the cost per ran job? And how many of them were sold as estimates? So it's really cool that you can start to filter this out by ads. Maybe you could do that before if you had everything going to a single campaign, but it gets really cool when you go down to this table here and you start to see it broken out by campaign. And so when you integrate Google Ads, we automatically see all of your Google ad campaigns. We create a version of that in ServiceTitan. So if you have a campaign in Google Ads called HVAC Repair Gotham, now we automatically create one in ServiceTitan called HVAC Repair Gotham. So there's one in both places that are mapped together. And so we have all of the data from Google, impressions, clicks, cost, the things that you're used to seeing in a report or in Google itself. And then we combine that with the ServiceTitan data, leads, book job, booking rate, ran jobs, sold jobs, and then most importantly, the revenue data. So you can really get a good sense of ROI by campaign. And that's probably the biggest value that the ads measurement, without Optimizer brings, is campaign level revenue attribution. Because when you're trying to make decisions of, how do I spend my budget? And probably more common that you go through is, I need 10 more jobs this week for this business unit. Or I'm completely booked out of this business unit. And you're trying to make decisions on, where do I turn up some budget to get those jobs? You can now look at a granular report for your Google Ads and see something like this, where the impression share is low. That means you have a lot more room to spend money. And the ROI is great. So let's raise our budgets there. and see if we can get some more jobs from that campaign. Or if you're just completely booked solid and every call that comes in, you're turning away customers because they're not willing to wait 2 weeks for a plumbing repair. But you don't want to completely turn off your ads. You can find out, well, these ones are the least profitable. We'll go here. These ones are the least profitable, so let's scale these ones down first. And beyond responding to capacity or business needs, just in general, if your agency has a login or if you're managing ads yourself or just having conversations with them, you can see cases where we are spending almost $1,000 over the date range and we're generating a negative revenue from that spend. So what can we do to reduce that wasted spend? Because that's a case we would call wasted spend, where you are spending money and it's not leading to positive ROI. So you can cut that wasted spend and reallocate it to these winning campaigns. And these types of decisions can make your entire advertising operation way more profitable. On average, we see 20 to 50%. I know it's a wide range. It's usually closer to 50%, but to play it safe, I say 20 to 50% of a spend in an account is wasted. And then even more than that, maybe 50 to 80% could be spent better. So it's still profitable, but this other campaign is even more profitable and we could shift it there. So this dashboard is really valuable for that. You can also drill in, look at a specific campaign and look at the actual individual ad groups for that and see how they compare and see the revenue attached to those ad groups. As well as go in and see the calls that came in from that campaign, similar as you'd be used to in a campaign report or campaign dashboard page, but with all of these cost and ROI metrics that are very valuable to analyze at a campaign level. If you have an agency, I do recommend them having a login to this so they can go in, and I've had the opportunity to dig into a few accounts and help a PPC person try and improve performance. And having ServiceTitan open on one screen and Google Ads open on another, and kind of going between the two and trying to figure out the whole customer journey and what's happening has allowed us to identify some really cool things. There was one case where the cost per conversion looked really good in Google. And then we looked at the search terms and saw they were for competitors. Okay, so is this really good? So we went to ServiceTitan, went to that campaign, went down and saw the conversions, the calls that came in, saw that they were unbooked. And we actually listened to those calls together and found out that it was people who thought they were calling the competitor, but it was really the wrong business. And so it was a misleading report where we were seeing a cost per conversion of $60 that looked really good. But after digging in with ServiceTitan Marketing Pro and Google Ads together, saw that actually all of that spend was being wasted. And we added that keyword as a negative exclusion keyword. So we stopped showing up for that competitor, which would save money for the contractor in the future. And equally as important to these manual adjustments is that PPC is done a lot by smart bidding nowadays, which is Google's artificial intelligence is the one that's deciding which keywords to prioritize, which ad groups to prioritize. And in that case I just mentioned, Google would have said this is a good keyword because it brought into conversions. But that's because Google can't see past the conversion into what actually happened with those customers. And so where it would have been funneling budget and prioritizing those keywords, it should actually have been, excluding them and taking away from them. And that leads into Optimizer, where we actually feed revenue back into the Google Ads account to help Google be smarter, as well as whoever's managing the account. Before I get to that, that is a lot of my own voice that I'm pretty sick of at this point. So please, someone ask a question about what we've covered so far.
Yeah, I'll go. Can you drill down into an ad group and look at some of the data there?
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
In my account, I'm looking at the column sold jobs, revenue, average ticket. Should there be any data there?
So you can't drill down like more specific than ad group to look at keywords at this time. We might support that in the future because the data is there. We just wanted to kind of keep it simple, and we thought this would be useful enough. There could be data here if there was actual data. The one thing I will say is right now, any job that comes through a call extension, so they didn't go to the website and called, but they called the number that was actually on the ad, that's all tracked at the campaign level. And so if you are looking at ad group reports, any jobs from that will not show up on this table. It would show up here for the whole campaign. It would also show up under the calls generated table. But since offline call extensions are managed at the campaign level, we can't assign those to an ad group. And so those would be excluded. But for website visits where they clicked an ad, went to the website, called a DNI number, booked, closed, and sold a job, all of that would show up here, as is the case in this example.
Got it. That makes total sense. Thank you.
Cool. Anything else?
Are we able to have DNI for multiple numbers yet?
We are. You can absolutely do that now. And so the way that you do that is if there are multiple phone numbers on a website, when you're setting up the DNI, you just you can click add new and add a separate number for each one. It'll be the same tracking code, so you don't need multiple tracking codes. Just keep that same one on the site. You will need a separate pool of numbers for that number you're replacing. So if you'd had two numbers, you would need two pools of 25 for it to work, but it does work now. It is supported.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
And then one more question. What is the process for connecting the Google to the service? How is that? Is that a pretty easy process?
It's easy and it's not. If you have edit access to your account, or if you have an agency that's like willing to work with you to either give you edit access, or that you can give a ServiceTitan login to just log in and do it themselves, then it's very simple. It's through a process called OAuth, where they just sign into their Google account within ServiceTitan, and then it connects it automatically.
So you take through ServiceTitan and then try to find your Google account.
Yeah, I mean, might as well walk through it really quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you show her the steps? Because the DNI part can get confusing, right? Like and then like all of it, it can get a lot. But if you have an agency, strongly suggest partnering with your agency. What this is going to bring is really transparency to the trades when you both have the data, so that you can leverage that partnership and grow together, because they don't necessarily have all of the data that they need to see how campaigns are running. And for instance, when I was in the trades, the company I worked for had a one-to-one rate call aspect. So they saw the first call, but they didn't see the second or the third from that one person if they happened. And so this gives more granularity from an agency perspective of like what's actually happening on the back end inside of ServiceTitan with your data.
Okay.
Yeah, so the setup is very easy. It's under settings, integrations, marketing integrations. And then you configure Google Ads, which I guess we'll start that over. So just click add account. Click allow. And then it pops up for you to select the account that you want, or for you or your agency to do so. I deliberately have an unnamed account in here to respect client confidentiality. And then all of the campaigns, this one happens to be linked to a Google LSA account, and that's it. But if there were multiple campaigns, they would all show up here within the Google account. And those are now all automatically mapped and created to a version in ServiceTitan with those same names. And does anyone on the call feel like they already have campaign level attribution figured out? Or for the most part, are your PPC calls, if you're not part of if you don't have this product set up yet, are they going to a single bucket called PPC? Or none of the above? In the chat, either drop campaigns or single bucket.
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to ask. So, but
What was your question again?
well, I just wanted to know, what to do. So you go to settings, integrations, and then you're adding an account, you're allowing, and then you can connect to Google.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
And we do have video guides that walk through all of these steps.
Okay.
And it's very, very simple, easy to do. Daniel, can we rename LSA accounts? I sure wish. That is a feature that I'm trying to sneak
We
in
are
and
working on it.
get done somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on it right now. It was an unexpected result of Google opening up their API further than they announced, to where LSAs were now coming through MCC connections. And so we started pulling in LSA accounts automatically. And we've been talking to our partners at Google. We let them know about the issue. They were surprised to see it as well, as Google is a really large place and often sometimes like working with the government. But we are working on it and trying to figure out how to do that.
Fun side note, Google probably runs this country as much as the government, but we won't get into that.
Who knows?
Won't get so conspiratorial, I guess, on this. Anyways, okay. If there's no questions there, I think we should move on to Optimizer, because we did not cover that on the webinar. There's probably a lot of questions around it. Dylan, do you want to take it, or do you want me to roll with it?
No, keep rolling. You're doing great.
Okay, you can be my wingman.
Yeah.
Peanut gallery.
I will be the peanut gallery.
Awesome. So Optimizer was born out of this clear capability that we can send revenue data back into Google Ads and also into Google Analytics. So it's not just the phone calls that we're pushing in, and it's not just within ServiceTitan that we're seeing these the ROI full funnel, but that we can also see it in Google Ads as well. And then we realized, like, it's one thing to have the revenue in there, but we want to find a way to help our customers actually use that and take advantage of that. And as I said before, Google's artificial intelligence is the thing that's nowadays managing most of the bidding and the budget allocation within your Google account. So the best way to do that, to tell Google, hey, start looking at revenue, not just phone calls, is to change the bid strategy. And the bid strategy is, there's lots of different ones. Back in the day, it was called manual CPC, where you picked exactly how much money you wanted to pay for every click. And then Google got better at their smart bidding. So it turned into maximize conversions or target CPA, where you say how much money you want to pay for a phone call or a conversion. And it would try and optimize towards that, which was better, but still has its limitations. But there are two kind of more advanced bid strategies called maximize conversion value, which is really saying like maximize revenue, or target ROAS, which is I'm going to tell you what I want my ROI to be, and you need to go out and like you, Google, need to go out and make that happen. And so we built Optimizer as a way to help you use this revenue data, to tell Google, I guess, to use this revenue data in smart ways. So I don't know if this demo account has it. We'll see. Yeah, it will have it. Okay. So this is a newly released page for those who are in the Optimizer beta right now. And it is in beta. It's been in beta for a year, so it's stable. It's not going to break on you. And if you are interested in this side of things, reach out to us and we can see if we can add you to the beta. But what will happen is it will show your Google ad campaigns. This is a local service campaign. Just pretend with me that it's not, and it's a real Google Ads campaign just for the sake of this. And what you can do is you can click this optimize bid strategy button. And what that does is we, as ServiceTitan, the software, will scan your account. And for campaigns that have this enabled, if we see that there's enough historical data that Google will probably be successful, we'll run an experiment with one of these new bid strategy types. And we start with maximize conversion value because from what we've heard from Google and other sources and our initial experiments, that tends to outperform target ROAS. And so really we run an experiment in your account where a portion of the traffic will target with Google going for revenue rather than leads. And then for the rest of that traffic, it will just keep the existing strategy that you've been using. And then we watch and check back in on that experiment every day until there's a clear winner. And if the new revenue focused bid strategy wins, then we'll automatically switch to that moving forward. And if it doesn't, then we just keep it as is. And we'll actually try a target ROAS experiment if the maximized conversion value didn't work. And then if that one doesn't work, then again, you just keep it as is and we just assume it worked. Or that the original was the best. But in the initial experiments that we've run, target ROAS, maximize conversion value, these revenue-based ones, I haven't seen it hurt performance yet. It either kept it at par or improved. And that's why we're pretty optimistic about the effects that Optimizer can have. The other cool thing it can do is an important part of setting up ads measurement, even in the first place, is realizing that the DNI only works on the website. And so if you want to track what's happening with call extensions in your account, then you had to manually create a number under each campaign. Some of the people on this call have gone through this process already. And then kind of go over to Google Ads and put that in there as well. But what you can actually do now is just add a number directly here. And it didn't work because it's an LSA campaign, but it will add the extension here. And then it will automatically go and put that in your Google Ads account as a extension number in there. So that helps you have complete attribution. Any questions on all of that?
What happens to all of those conversions that you're collecting with the G-CLIDs while you have measurement set up before you had Optimizer?
I think you broke my brain with that question, Dylan.
Really?
Yeah, what happened with all of those conversions
that DNI collects while you have measurement running.
Okay.
And then once you turn on Optimizer, we front load them
Oh.
all
Yeah.
into Google, thus increasing your chances of targeting.
Yeah. So the second you turn on Optimizer, the revenue doesn't start the day you turn it on. We kind of have that data stored historically, and it can backdate it to increase your chances of reaching data that we feel comfortable running experiments on faster, which is a cool feature that I completely forgot about. Thank you, Dylan.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
It's my wingman. Yeah.
So you're going to get them started faster with the testing, right? That's what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
Like you have the data, so you can just make it happen.
Yeah, we
Okay.
want to be that, friendly little data collector on your side. You set up DNI, and then we're storing all these transactions that happen. And then once you turn on Optimizer and you want to start using these bidding strategies, and it's shifting from conversion-based bidding over to value-based bidding. And so now that you're in a value-based bidding world, we have all this stored data of value to associate with people that clicked on your ads. So we can front load that to Google and now give them a really good picture of what your customers look like and rank them according to how much they paid you.
That's a good point. What your customers look like,
Mhm.
right? This is your data, right?
Yes.
Make that clear.
We did have a question come in from Henry. If an agency runs your ads, would the extension not be able to automatically go over to Google? So it would be able to. It's more of a question of your agency should be very involved in everything that's going on. If your agency they probably have a call tracking software that they're using. If you were to set this up, they're probably the ones that would need to put the tracking code to make our thing work on the website. And then they might be like, what's this going on? So they need to be in the loop for sure. There's a good chance that if they are using a call tracking software, that they have, let's just say it was CallRail. They have CallRail numbers for every extension. That's forwarding to a ServiceTitan campaign number called Google PPC. That's what we see the most commonly. It works better to just, again, switch over to ServiceTitan and to have ServiceTitan override those call numbers with the ones that we're adding. If there already is a phone number for those campaigns, it will remove it from that campaign and put ours in instead, just so that we have full attribution. So that it will work, and it should work. If they are, again, married to their call tracking software and instead want to find a way to integrate with ServiceTitan, which we can support, it'll look a bit different then. You won't want to automatically move those extensions over, because then it would kind of defeat what they're working on, just in that case. But yes, in general, you probably want to. All right, what else we got? Any other questions?
So what do agencies say with this product? What have they been saying about this product that we've been working with? Because it's a partnership, and so we want to make sure that, when you bring this to your agency, we want you to be well versed of what we're doing, so that we are all, partnering in this together. So how would they speak to their agency about doing this?
Yeah, that's a great question.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah, for the softball. So oftentimes agencies, if they haven't heard of this, we have a lot on board that are familiar with it and have implemented this multiple times. There may be some hesitation at first, because they're maybe like, wait, we can't use our call tracking anymore. That's what we're familiar with. That's what we're used to. But usually when we explain the benefit of the dashboard and ROI tracking and getting the revenue back into Google, agencies get really excited about it. Again, I worked at an agency for 8 years before my time at ServiceTitan, trying to solve this very product or this very problem for most of my time there. And most agencies that we interact with get really excited about it. So the way to approach it, and we actually do have a guide that's called ServiceTitan Ads Measurement Agency Guide that kind of speaks in terms that they're more familiar with and speaks to some of the concerns that they might have. So giving that to them, it introduces them to the product and walks them through even how to set it up. So that's probably the best way to reach out to them. I will, once someone else is talking, I'll find it and drop it in the chat. And that's probably the best way to just explain it. But they usually are really, really excited for it because most agencies they're trying to prove their value. They're trying to prove that they're worth you hiring them and keeping them. And this is a tool that allows them to really improve your performance and prove their value.
I can just say I would love that. That would be great. And I'd love to have a recording of this so I can, push it along, because there might be certain tidbits in here that would connect and help my agency and us team together better.
Yeah, most definitely. So we'll send out the recording via email. If you registered, which you obviously did because you're here, I'll go ahead and send that out as soon as we can, and I'll post it on the Marketing Pro Facebook group and in the community probably next week when I get it all.
Yeah. And I'm very interested in that agency guide from Johnny. Yes, especially.
No problem. We'll get that all out to you. And Johnny will probably post that now.
I will post it now. Just have to track it down. We'll see if it works. Let me know if that link works.
The link is in the chat.
And if you're having trouble selling your agency on it, reach out to us. There may be, thanks Henry, there may be an opportunity for me to get on with them. It's we've realized that this product is as much for agencies as it is for you. It lets you do your job better and it lets them do their job better in equal parts. And we really want to partner with as many agencies as possible on this and get them on board because, if an agency knows how to set it up for one of their clients, they can set it up for all of their clients and they can become experts at using this tool. It'll level them up as an agency and really accomplish the whole goal we have with all of this, which is to reduce wasted ad spend for our customers and help them use advertising to grow their business. We need agencies to be our partners to make that dream come true, I guess. So yeah, feel free to loop us in on any conversations with your agencies and we love to help get them on board.
Yeah, and we already have, I think, so we're running a program called ServiceTitan Marketing Certified Provider. And what we're doing is we're taking them through, the agencies through the entire product to train them on, how to really use it and for their tenants, for their customers, to maximize growth for their customers, but also to, understand ServiceTitan as a whole, because the marketing isn't just in Marketing Pro. It's from when you drop that piece of mail or email, it starts to flow through the calls, it starts to flow through the follow-ups for the conversions that aren't happening. And so it's really important for our agencies to know, okay, well, this is the actual conversion that didn't happen, and to coach you all on how it can happen better. And so it's really just coaching on opportunities and partnering to understand the data inside of ServiceTitan as it flows through the entire system. So it's pretty cool. Those providers have done a lot of work. All right, we have another question. Let's see. Daniel, I see you on video. Just come off mute. Okay, as far as the data that Optimizer sends back to Google, is it just a transaction data? Any additional data from an audience perspective? Question.
I don't know if Daniel's giving me softballs or not. I actually had a meeting with just him not too long ago to walk through some of this stuff. And it's like, did I tell you this yet? Or are you just teeing it up for me? I believe you promised me some jokes on this webinar as well. So I expect you to drop at least one of those in the chat. So we only send in, so Optimizer only sends in revenue. From like the conversion standpoint, we don't send in if it's booked, ran jobs, like the whole funnel. It's just kind of the lead and then the revenue. But what Optimizer also does, which if you were to go in here, talks a little bit about it under revenue import, is we do actually send your customer list into Google Ads. And we do it in a way that, a secure way that Google can analyze the list of your customers to see which ones of them, I guess, really the qualities of them. So, what zip codes do they live in? What are their interests on Google? And it kind of creates an ideal customer profile for you. And then it automatically uses that to improve its smart bidding. And so when someone is on Google and they're searching for a furnace repair near me, Google knows a lot about that searcher. It knows obviously the time of day that the search is happening. It knows the device that it's on. And if they have a Google account, which many do, it probably has a general idea of your age, your gender, your interests, if you're in the market for buying something or not. In some places, like a general sense of percentile of household income. And so there's all of these qualities that it kind of instantaneously processes, plus the keyword that you searched for, to try and, I guess, grade you and see like how likely you are to actually call a business and turn into a customer. And by uploading your customer list, it sees if there's these matched qualities of, well, I will go with, 123 HVAC. 123 HVAC, their customers have these qualities. This searcher right now has those same qualities. So let's really make sure we're at the top and we show up in prime real estate for them, because there's a good chance that they'll turn into a customer for 123 HVAC. So we automatically send in the audience. Google automatically applies that to the campaigns. If you are running display campaigns, you can also or YouTube, you can create actual like targeting audiences off of that customer list.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Lookalike lists, targeting lists. You could even add that list as a negative audience to maybe your branded campaign if you don't want existing customers who are searching for your brand to see your branded search ads. And it's only new customers that would see that. So there's different strategies you can actually play around with the audience, but definitely using it as a similar to lookalike audience for display is a great strategy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that answers the question completely.
Cool. So you just needed a 20-word answer, not a 2,000-word answer that you got. Awesome.
Okay, Johnny, we have about 10 minutes left. What if you could give one piece of advice for, let's say, PPC? Say it's a really hot day and we forgot to turn it down. No, I don't know where this question is going. Let me think of a different question. What's one piece of advice for PPC that you would
That's
give?
safer. Yeah, instead of a really specific, difficult case study, you put me on the spot.
Difficult.
Advice for PPC. That's a whole webinar in and of itself, honestly. But I'll give a few tidbits. The first is you probably are wasting some money. And so make sure you're actually doing the work and staying on top of it to identify that wasted spend and reallocate it profitably. The other piece of advice is be an expert or hire an expert, because like you can manage it yourself. You can manage it in-house, but if you're casual about it, then it will not lead to good outcomes. You need to put in the time to get good at it, to actually be looking at it and to practice it. And if you don't have that time or don't want that, have no interest in it, then hire an agency that you resonate with to be that expert to do it for you. I see Dylan raised a hand.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about the importance also of setting your links properly and setting your UTM properly. It's a different topic, but I just thought because of the problem that we discovered across many customers, it's probably worth mentioning. Someone
Sure.
else brought up is there a good social media tool that you can use to create and schedule posts?
Apparently Social Pilot.
Social Pilot. Hootsuite's an easy beginner one. It doesn't really let you do at mentions. Social Pilot, I mean, Sprout Social. There's so many out there. Later, it's literally called Later. So yeah, we're working, hopefully one day social will be a big thing for Marketing Pro. It's on my vision board.
So we don't have any that are integrated with ServiceTitan right now. That's the integration will have to be done through what Dylan said, which is using UTM parameters on your URLs. And that is where, without going too long into explaining what that is, but pretty much you put these things called UTM parameters at the end of your URL. And that lets Google Analytics know where that's coming from. So I'm going to drop in the chat an example of that. And I'll do it for a Facebook ad.
Oh, real quick, will you talk about the source medium deployment that went out, that in ServiceTitan?
Marketing data cleanup?
Yes, please.
For sure.
And then we'll end the call on that.
This links to that pretty well. So if you see this URL, 123hvac.com, that might be a real site. I won't click to find out, but so there's something called UTM source equals Facebook, UTM medium equals CPC. And so by having that in the URL, when Google Analytics is on the site, it identifies, okay, so the source of this is Facebook, the medium is CPC. CPC stands for cost per click, and it's kind of the industry standard for like a paid traffic. It doesn't make a ton of sense, but that's what it's been forever, and that's what it's going to continue to be forever. So by specifying these in the URL, by using these UTMs, Google can analyze the source and medium. And we decided to, I guess, play nice with Google Analytics in this way, or be compatible, I guess would be the word. And so in ServiceTitan, you can now set sources and mediums as well. And it'll follow a very similar format to what you would have in with these URL parameters. And so if I share my screen back to this, if you were to create a new campaign, you can see you can now select the source and medium. For these ones, you can't just make up whatever you want. You have to pick from this list. If you feel like there is a source that is clearly missing from this list, you can put other and enter it here. It will not show up as that for your source, but we receive it. And if we feel like, yeah, this is one that we missed from our list, we'll add it to the list for everyone to use. Same for medium. But in this case, you would just go Facebook and CPC if you had a Facebook campaign. And then what you would want to do, what works with the DNI, is have a URL like I dropped in the chat that ends with UTM source equals Facebook, medium equals CPC. And you probably have a campaign name as well in there. And if you do that, when someone comes to the website with that URL, ServiceTitan DNI can identify that and assign it to the correct campaign automatically in ServiceTitan. So that, I guess that's the purpose of source and medium. And then when you go to the dashboard, you can filter by the different sources and mediums, which is a part of the main benefit and reason why we built it that way. With the marketing cleanup tool specifically, what this does is it gives you a quick and easy way to look at all of your historic categories and assign them a source and a medium, rather than having to go through each campaign one by one. And so we can see here there's a category called display. If I wanted to, I could assign these for the whole category, or you can break it down and change it to individual ones. I don't know if there's one here. Actually, there probably would be an LSA one. Okay, there's not, but if there's an LSA one, you could do one that's Google LSA, and make the rest Google CPC. Excuse me. So there's a guide that shows how to use this. It gives some common mappings that you're probably going to want to use, because you're like, well, what do I pick? How do I know what they should be? You should be able to figure out most of them. This one's the Home Depot, then you should be able to, just go through them and see, okay, Home Depot, the only option it gives is referral. So you can figure that out. If you do click next, it shows all of the campaigns in here that never had a category. And so you can just go through and quickly assign this to all your historical ones. And then now those will exist. It'll be mapped. You can filter reports by source and medium, similar to how you would in Google Analytics. And it just gives your data, makes managing it cleaner, and you can get kind of more specific in how you splice and craft your reports. Does that make sense? Kind of, not really, maybe. I will drop one thing in the chat, which is a work in progress, but that is a URL builder. And so what you can do with that is, if you enter a URL, you pick your source and medium and campaign, it will kind of spit out the URL to put on your Facebook ad, for example, if that's what you're using, or your direct mail piece, if that's what you're using, just wherever you want it. You can't edit this because, again, everyone is looking at it right now, but you can clone it, make a copy, and have your own version of it so that you can generate your own URLs that play nice with the data in ServiceTitan. And also that DNI can pick up and assign to campaigns automatically when traffic goes from those URLs to the website.
And again, the goal here really is to clean up some of your old data to make it play nice with the new data that is now automated coming in from Google. So we can show you more accurate aggregate data from day one, once you set it all up. We can't go back in time, unfortunately, and unbucket your campaigns, which it seems like most of our customers have a single campaign called PPC or Google, and we call those bucketed campaigns on our side. So this lets you go back and assign source and medium to all those categories and campaigns. So when you're running reports on marketing analytics, you can run by source or medium by the UTM parameters and start grouping them together with the new campaigns. However, it's important to show in aggregate the ROI there, and that'll make your ROI numbers look much more accurate from day one. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is, when you get started, just because you set up DNI, you still have lead forms and bookings coming in through web scheduler or schedule engine or various other services that you might use. And we want to make sure that you set those up too. We have post calls that you can do. It's kind of like a webhook where if you have ServiceTitan API access, you can automate the attribution through that too. And so we have some good instruction we can send out to you if you reach out to us for details. The whole goal here is we want total coverage on all the leads coming through your website. And that way we can have that 100% coverage of attribution. That's probably the #1 cause of any numbers looking kind of wonky from the get-go, is maybe you're capturing all your calls, but then 20% of your leads are coming in off of web bookings and you're not capturing accurate marketing data from those. They're still being done through a drop-down or all bucketed into a campaign called schedule engine or something like that. So it's really important to fix that stuff too. I just wanted to stress that.
Yeah, attribution is just going to get harder, right? Privacy, Google, craziness. So really take into consideration that you will need this in some sort of way to track and have visibility into your data. So with that, though, we're over time and we appreciate all of you guys for joining. We will send out the recording. Is there any other questions that we can answer before we drop off? Yes, Mary, how can we help?
Hi. Yeah. So the question I had, so is there a seminar for the agencies? And how would they connect to do that seminar? I know you have agencies already, but we're connected to our agency and they're trying to learn and be a part of it. And they're really, good. So I don't want to.
Well, first, they're more than welcome to join any of our webinars, workshops, anything. That is for them as well. But there's a guide that he posted in here. And that's a good point. We should probably have a webinar for agencies in general on this. So yeah, we'll work towards that. Johnny and Dylan will be in another webinar later, I believe in September, August, somewhere around there, discussing smart bidding. So we'll continue this conversation and repost as much as we can. And, your agency can join the Marketing Pro Facebook group too, so that in the community, so that they have access to us as well, because we're in there answering questions daily.
And I think someone asked for a Calendly link earlier.
Yeah.
We should send out that Calendly link. We can still get scheduled through those while we're helping get our Marketing Pro customers on board.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. Well, I'm going to end this. Thank you guys all for joining. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.